Good morning, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bree and today's video is going to be a book haul. I didn't think I had that many books, but now I've realized just how carried away I've gotten. So I have some books I got for Christmas or just like as gifts from family, and then I have some books that I've collected. There was a Barnes & Noble by my house. It was gonna relocate, but they were selling everything for like 50% off, and then you get, if you have a membership, you get 10% off. So I got a ton of books for 60% off, and I just like could not pass that up, especially because I shop secondhand a lot. There's a lot of books I don't find secondhand, so I was able to pick those up, and yeah, it's gotten a little out of hand, so I'm trying to reel myself in for the rest of the year. And almost all of these, not all of these, were purchased in December, and then some a little bit in January, but since January I've been kind of tracking like how much I spend on buying books and how much I get selling back, to just like figure out what I'm actually spending on books, to be a little more conscious of that, and just for like a consumerism standpoint. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. So I'm gonna try to like time block this out for you, but I still don't really know how to do that, so bear with me. But I've separated them into gifts and then things I bought, and then I've separated them by genre. So the first genre I'll start with is the smallest in the gift category, and these are 3 middle grades I got. So the first one is A Hat Full of Sky by Terry Pratchett, and this is the second in the Tiffany Aching series. I don't know which one in the Discworld. So basically Discworld is like this huge series of books. I think there's like 30 or more books, and they all have different themes. They're kind of silly and they're really good middle grades, but then they sometimes have smaller series within that. So this is the Tiffany Aching. I read The We Free Men last year and really loved it. My sister-in-law got it for me, and these were her favorite books growing up, and so she got me the second one because I really liked it. The next two are middle grade graphic novels, and the first one I've been wanting for a long time is Seance Tea Party by Ramina, and look at how freaking cute this is. And it's basically about this girl who doesn't really want to grow up. She's not ready to grow up, and so she is determined to have fun being young, even after all her friends are kind of like deciding they're too old for things. And it's just about like being a kid forever. So I just think it looks super cute and just really adorable, and I love the artwork style. This one I am just so excited for. Have you ever just had a book, had a book that like before even reading you're like, yes, 100% this is for me? This is one of those books, which is gonna sound a little ridiculous, but it's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It's called Garlic and the Vampire, and it's by Bree Paulson, and basically the town is being like hurt by this vampire. So this little Garlic, she decides she's gonna take on the vampire, and she has a friend named Carrot. Her best friend is Carrot, and that's Carrot. And like you can see the people are just different like hardy vegetables and stuff. Oh my gosh, like I cannot wait to read this, because one, it's like taking out a vampire, that kind of thing. So for me, also if you hear anything, it's the cats. And like then it's vegetables, and it's just, oh my god, I gotta show you that again because it's just too cute. So yeah, really happy I got this. My mom got me these two. I guess I'll do fantasy next. So the first one is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne E. Brown, and this is one that's been on my list for a while. I've heard really good things about it. Okay, so I think it's about 2 girls, one who has to kill the crown princess and another who is a crown princess who her mom's making her do things she doesn't want to do, and her mother's been assassinated, and she resurrects her mother through ancient magic, and I think that they like intertwine a lot. I have not, as you can see, I don't know a ton about this, but I've just heard really good reviews on it, and it seems like a book that would be like up my alley for a YA fantasy. So this is the first one in the series, and I'm excited to get to it. Then we've got the Atlas 6, which has been going around a lot lately, and that's by Olivia Blake, and it's going to be traditionally published. This is a self-published version, And I've heard some people say that there was just some things they wished were fixed, but being it self-published is just one of those things. So now that she's getting it self-published, or traditionally published, they're hoping like things might change. And so I'm gonna read this one, and if I really like it, I would really like to compare it to the other one that's gonna come out. I don't know when that will come out, but it's a secret society type thing where they're playing with magic, and I think there's 6 people, but they have 1 year to qualify for initiation, but there only 5 will be enrolled or like move forward, and 1 will be eliminated. So they have to fight to survive and stuff, and it's like a secret society type thing, and it sounds like a book I would really like because I really like secret society type. This one I've seen around, and I'm not really sure what it's about. And I'm not a big science fiction person. I just don't know why. I just don't really get into it as much. But my sister-in-law got me this, and it's a novella, and it does sound really cute. So it's called A Psalm for the Wild Built, a Monk and Robot book by Becky Chambers. And I think it's just about a robot, like, going around doing robot things. I'm not really sure. Yeah, even the synopsis isn't giving me much, but I guess it's like a really cute, like, just robot story. And I'm much more into robots than aliens. Aliens are just like kind of a no-go for me. I don't know why. It's not my thing. And so this one, I am excited to pick it up. And I think because it's so short, like, it'll be good for me to give it a try and see if I could like some science fiction. Next book is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Haro. This one I had put on my, like, Goodreads list a long time ago. By the way, I'm now on Storygraph if you ever want to follow me there. I don't really remember what it was about, but I remember reading the synopsis and really wanting to read it, and it seems witchy. Yeah, so it's like supposed to be in 1893, and there's no such things as witches, but there probably is. Looks like 3 sisters join the suffragists of New Salem. I didn't say that word right. They begin to pursue the forgotten words and ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches' movement. There's no such things as witches, but there will be. I'm a sucker for anything witches. Love it. Sounds really good. I've not been in a fantasy mood, but I do think out of the fantasy I'm in the mood for, it's witchy stuff. Then this one is the last of the fantasy, and this was for my sister, and it's The Mask of Mirrors. And I hadn't heard of this until she got it for me, but it sounds really good. It's a con artist who has one goal, is to trick her way into a noble house, securing her fortune and her sister's fortune. But her masquerade is just one of many, and as corrupt nightmare magic begins to weave its way through the city of dreams, the poisonous feuds of its nobility and the shadowy dangers of its impoverished underbelly become entangled, with Ren at their heart. Sounds pretty good. It's really big, so I'm a little intimidated, but I hadn't heard of this, and it looks like it's Rook and Rose book 1, so I don't know how many are going to be in the series. I like kind of con artists, like dragged into situations type tales. Like, I read The Lies of Macklemore, I really like that too. So this kind of a book is something that seems like it would be up my alley. So those are my fantasy and science fiction. And then we'll go on to my mystery thriller. I have 1 horror in here, so let's start with a book I've already read, and you will have seen a reading vlog of it. But my sister-in-law got me Moriarty for Christmas, and I read this for my fiance picks my TBR. He picked this book for me to read. It's the second in the Horowitz and Holmes series, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's basically a Sherlock retelling. Moriarty's dead, and there's a new villain in town. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts, you can watch that video. Then we've got a book that is controversial, and I'm now worried I will not like it. It is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, and he wrote The Silent Patient, which I gave 2.53 stars. It was definitely like, it was okay, but it wasn't my favorite thriller, but I wanted to give him another chance, and this one seemed like a more up my alley type plot. A professor, I think he's a murderer, and then one of the students, like aunt or mom or something, is a therapist, and she is determined to stop him. But I just have heard really poor reviews on this, like worse than 3 stars, but it's not too long. I think I will give it a try just to like see, because sometimes when something has such bad reviews, I'm like, I want to know why. Okay, this one is from my grandma, and she likes to read, and she'll sometimes send my sister and I books. So she sent me The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and I was like, had no clue what this book was. And then now, like, literally I got it, and then it was like, I just saw it everywhere. Like, everyone's been talking about it. And it's a person disappears, but he gets a note to his beloved wife of 1 year saying protect her. And he's talking about his sister, his 16-year-old daughter Bailey, and a bunch of stuff goes down. But Hannah and Bailey have to discover the truth of what's like happening. So it sounds intriguing. It definitely sounds like a thriller I would enjoy. Again, not very long. And I do want to give it a try because my grandma read it, and then me and her can talk about it. And so I'm excited to get this, and it does seem like a book that I would enjoy. Okay. I'll do The 22 Murders of Madison May by Max Berry. Madison May keeps dying, and she dies 22 times, and this person is trying to figure out what is happening. Yeah, so this journalist is assigned to report on her murder, but she is drawn into a shocking conspiracy involving a powerful group who have harnessed the ability to slip between lives, to move from one version of reality to another. And so Madison May is murdered over and over in different ways wherever she goes. So Felicity's trying to save Madison May. So it sounds like, again, maybe I could give some science fiction a try, but it's a like mystery thriller. So I think it's gonna be a good option. It was in the science fiction section, but I've kind of heard it more of like a mystery, and I really did enjoy The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which is like kind of playing with that time idea, and I like really loved that. I just finished S.A. Cosby's Razorblade Tears. I just finished a reading vlog today, so you'll see it on Saturday after this is going up on Tuesday. Hi, when you're watching this. And then on Saturday, the reading vlog will be up, so I'm not going to give thoughts about it. But I decided to pick up Blacktop Wasteland by him. This one is about a guy who is a getaway driver, and he's kind of trying to get out of that life. He doesn't want to do that anymore. It's been a couple years, but he keeps feeling like now he's being forced back into it because there's a heist that he just can't say no to. It's like a heist of a lifetime, and I think stuff's gonna go down that he is not prepared for. I just think it's gonna be like a ride because Razorblade Tears was. So got that. And then I've also picked up, this is my, oh, I guess I did have two horrors because I think this is shelved as horror. And that's The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And Simone St. James is coming out with, it's called The Book of Accidents later this year. And I wanted to give this author a try, and this one sounds really good. So it's basically in 1982. This woman goes to work at the Sundown Motel, and she ends up disappearing and never being found. Years later, a family member decides to go like track down what happened to her, and she gets to the Sundown Motel and things start happening that are very similar to what happened in the 80s. So then we have one that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This is the first one in the series, and my sister-in-law got this so me and my mother-in-law and myself can read this as like a book club, and I'm really excited to do that because I think that would be really fun. So I don't know when we're going to be reading this. I gotta ask her. Bree, if you're watching this, when are we going to read this or have it done by? It's basically a group in this retirement home. They like to go to the jigsaw room, and they like to try to like solve murders together. They're just like really interested in it. They end up getting entwined in this murder that happened in the town and are trying to solve it. And I just think it sounds really good. It's like, I like the premise of them being in a retirement home and like figuring out this like murder that's happening, and I just think it's gonna be a different way of like reading a murder mystery. The last one of my gifted ones, and then still got a whole stack. This is by Dacre Stoker and J.D. Barker. So I think this is a relative of Bram Stoker, which wrote Dracula, and this book is called Dracul, which is like how Dracula became Dracula. Oh, this is how Bram Stoker came to write Dracula. So I think it's like supposed to be Bram Stoker engages with Dracula. 21-year-old Bram Stoker waits in a desolate tower to face an indiscernible evil. Armed with only crucifixes, holy water, and a rifle, he prays to survive a single night, the longest of his life. Desperate to record what he has witnessed, Bram scribbles down the events that led him. I thought this was like how Dracula became Dracula, but love this even more. So these are in, it's just 3 books, but they don't really have a category. But the first one is The X Hex by Erin Sterling. I saw everyone reading this and I want to like romance more, but I just tend to not. And I think that this could be one that I would really enjoy because it does have like a witchy element, and it's basically like this girl and her boyfriend break up and she places a hex on him, and then years later she realizes that this hex actually did more than she thought and realizes it actually had consequences, and now her and him are gonna have to get the hex removed, and it just sounds really cute. Then I've got With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, and this is about a girl who is in high school and she gets pregnant, and then now she has a child and she's living with her mom and is just trying to like provide for her and her family, and she ends up like, she really loves cooking, and so she really wants to be a chef, but I think she's pulled between like responsibilities, and it's just about her and like trying to pursue her dreams while having these obstacles in her way. And it just sounds really good, and I've heard amazing things about Elizabeth Acevedo. I'm not a big contemporary person, but this one just called out to me, and I really like the like cooking element of it, and so I am excited to give it a try. Okay, so then the last one is a classic, and it's going to be for a video that I'm not going to talk about, but it's Little Women by Louisa May Elka. This is, if you probably know, is about 4 sisters and just like growing up and their responsibilities and their dreams and stuff like that. And so I've never read it, so I'm actually kind of shocked, but I'm excited to get to it, and I thought I was buying the classic edition for like the ones in this collection, but then it came. I got it from Half Price Books, so I didn't really know. I had it shipped, but I mean it matches enough, but I'm just a little sad because I thought I was getting this version. Okay, I'm gonna go to middle grade because I have a huge stack here. I've just been really into middle grade lately. I'm gonna start with one that I've also have a reading vlog about, so you can check that out, but it's Offi's Ghost by Justina Ireland. And this is about Offi, who can see ghosts, and her mom, after a tragedy, have to move to Philadelphia, and they are working in this manor, and Offi sees some ghosts, and she ends up helping to figure out what happened to one of the ghosts in the manor. And yeah, it was just a really sweet story. I really liked it, but you can see my reading vlog for more information about that. Okay, so then I've got The Secrets of Winter House by Ben Gutterson, which is the second to the Winter House series, and this is about a girl who is sent for Christmas vacation to this hotel called Winter House, and there she gets wrapped up in a mystery, and she is starting to try to figure out what's like, something sinister is happening in the hotel, and she ends up finding stuff about herself throughout the process, and she really enjoys puzzles and like word games and stuff, and she has a friend there that she meets who's her age, and he likes to build stuff, and he also likes puzzles and things like that. So they become friends, and they kind of get wrapped up in this mystery, and this is the second one, and it's got that cute like cover where they pop out. Yeah, I think a hotel like mystery is really up my alley, so I thought it was a cute middle grade, and I would highly recommend it. Just realized the bottom of the book was damaged. I am excited to pick this one up. I don't know when I'll be back into middle grades, but this one is like a series I definitely want to continue because I really liked it. I've got these two, which I try not to buy things out of order, but I did because I saw these two at Half Price Books and they were $2 each, and I was like, I can't leave them. So these are The Thief Knot and the Rancoteers Commonplace book. These are both, I think it's 3 and 4 in the Green Glass House series, and the Green Glass House series is following this boy who is in Green Glass Castle, I think, and it's where like a bunch of like con artists and thieves and stuff like that come, and he is wrapped up in a mystery there, but he like works for like the hotel or something that a lot of these people stay at. I really want to read the first one. It sounds really good to me. So then I've got a little middle grade graphic novel, and I've been looking for this for so long, and I'm so happy we found it at Half Price Books. Noah found it when we were there, and I was like just so ecstatic. So that's The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill, and I just think it looks like the cutest like book, little graphic novel. So it's basically like this girl gets to learn the art of tea making, and there's like things called tea dragons, and I think everyone gets their own tea dragon. I mean, you could see it there. Come on. Yeah, and it just sounds so cute, and I just know it's something about the art of tea making and dragons, tea dragon. But it just sounds so cute, and I'm like so happy to have this. I'm not a huge graphic novel person. I'm just now getting into them, but I think something about middle grade graphic novels really calls to me. I think it's like how cute their like stories and their drawings are that just like really draw me in, so I'm excited. So then I've got, again, the third book to the series Fairyland, and the first one was the girl who circumnavigated Fairyland in a ship of her own making. I have a reading vlog of that as well. This is the third book. I found this again at Half Price Books, and they didn't have the second, but they had the third, and I really liked the first one, so I was like, I just picked it up because again it was only like $2.50 or something like that, and I was like, I can't not take this home with me knowing that I want to read it and it being that price, so I brought it home. Okay, last three, middle grade. I've heard nothing but good things about this series, and so I just knew I had to give it a try, and that's called Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow. So it's basically a girl is unlucky. She was born on like the 13th, and everyone like blames her for the problems in their town because she's unlucky, and she is swept away to this place where she basically goes in these trials. She makes friends, and if she gets through these trials, she gets to go into the Wondrous Society. And yeah, it just sounds like found friendship, magic, a girl like coming into her own. The next one is called The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trent and Lee Stewart, and this is also a Mysterious Society type thing. There's a ad in the paper that says if the most gifted children are supposed to come and try to solve these puzzles. In the end, 4 very special children will succeed. Their challenge to go on a secret mission that only the most intelligent and resourceful children could complete. I like the trial aspect of things, and so yeah, I picked this one up as well from Half Price Books because again, these were all like $2, so I was like, I can't leave them. This one sounds really good. This is The Troubled Girls of Dragomeer Academy by Ursu, and this is about girls who are at this academy. They have a chance to make something of themselves in service to one of the country's powerful sorcerers. But as they learn how to fit into a world with no place for them, they begin to discover things about the magic the men of their country wield, as well as the dread itself. Things that threaten the precarious balance upon which their country is built. And so I think it's just going to be the power of girls and the magic they possess, and I just think that it's going to be such a cute story. And this cover, can we talk about it? Because one of my favorite middle grade covers I've ever seen. It's perfectly like whimsical, spooky, and like cute. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like, I love this cover. Going to go into my fantasy. So I have mostly young adult and one adult. So I'll start with the adult. Jade City by Fonda Lee. I am so excited. This is basically, there's Jade that is like controls the magic and power in the city, and this family controls that Jade, and then now they're swept up into a situation where people are trying to, other groups are trying to take that power away from them, and so it's kind of like a gang wars, and I think it's compared to the classic Hong Kong gangster films, but in a fantasy setting. I think this is going to be one that's like really up my alley. Then we've got the second and the last book in the duology, and that's We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faizal. I think there was, for a debut novel, I thought it was pretty good, but there were things that I wish would improve upon, and so I'm excited to see what she does with the second book. But it's basically a competition where there's a hunter and then there's this Prince of Death, and they both get sent to this island to retrieve this lost book because the Sultan wants the book destroyed and magic stopped, and she, the huntress, wants to free magic, and they're both kind of led there by different forces. This is going to wrap everything up, and the last one left on kind of a cliffhanger, so I'm excited to see where it goes. And that was also part of that Barnes & Noble 60% off. So this is also part of that. I finished Offi's Ghost in December, I think it was, and I just had to get these because this is by the same author, Justina Ireland, and I've really loved Offi's Ghost. And these are called Dread Nation and Deathless Divide. Dread Nation's the first, Deathless Divide is the second. Jane McKean was born 2 days before the dead began to walk the battlefields of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, derailing the war between the states and changing the nation forever. In this new America, however, the battle for survival is as political as it is personal, and the restless dead, it would seem, are the least of her problems. Oh, so this is like zombie. I'm not a big zombie person, but I still want to give these a try because I really loved her writing, and I had this on my TBR. Sorry if you can hear that. There's something outside. A truck or something. Yeah, so I picked these two up because I knew I wanted to give her another try. So I am excited to read this. I will give zombies a try. I haven't actually given them a try. I just never like watched The Walking Dead or anything like that. So I feel like it's probably not for me, but we shall see. We shall see. And then we've got A Winter's Promise by Christiel Davos, and this is basically about a girl who has these mirrors where she can go between like these castles in the sky, basically. And she ends up getting herself wrapped up into a bigger adventure. She must navigate the lies and machinations of her fiancé's clan in order to survive in this first installment of the Mirror Visitor series. She's a pawn in a dangerous game that will have far-reaching consequences for her entire world. Love the cover. I've heard good things, and I picked it up because it is something I do want to read. Now into the ones I probably know more about. I feel like those couple ones I just was struggling, but I've been really on a mystery, thriller, horror kick, so I'm so excited to get to these. So I'm going to start with my horror just because it's a smaller pile. Let's start with My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I read The Only Good Indians earlier this year, or well, I guess 2021, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Again, I have a reading blog. This one seems like one I'm really gonna like, and it is basically a girl who likes slasher films. People start dying in the town, like what's happening in these slasher films that she sees, so she starts to try to figure out what's happening to them, and she gets wrapped up in this mystery. And this is actually going to be a series, so I think the second one is coming out soon. Yeah, so I think if it's not already out, it's coming out, the second one. And so I'm just so excited to read this. I've heard good reviews on it, and I think it sounds like my kind of thing. I like spoofier things where it's like a play on like slasher films and stuff like that, and I really liked his writing. I had to get this. So this will also be for a vlog that I'm not going to tell you about yet. This is The Shining by Stephen King, and this is just, I literally have no idea what The Shining is about, but I've been wanting to read more Stephen King. I've never seen the movie either, so I don't really know what I'm getting into, but I picked it up because I have a reading vlog of mine. This one is actually categorized under horror, but I've heard it doesn't read as much like horror, but I think it'll be still really cool to try, and that's The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This has also been on my TBR for a while. So it's about a girl whose mom is now dead, and she starts to figure out that her mom was like maybe wrapped up in some witchcraft stuff, and she ends up getting wrapped up in it herself. And there's this aspect of the church and how the church doesn't like witches. Yeah, so she ends up getting ensnared in this whole witch thing, and I think it's just so good. And then we have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. So in my last reading vlog, you'll have seen I read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and this one is now a different one by Grady Hendrix. I really enjoyed that Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. So I had already gotten this, but now I'm even more excited to read it, and it's basically about these 2 girls, and one of them gets possessed. I think her friend has to like try to exorcise this demon from her friend, and it's again set like in the 80s, and I love this like old looking cover. I liked about Grady Hendrix that things were kind of like spoofy or more fun in a lot of ways, and I think that this sounds like it's going to be kind of the same, and it gives me a little bit of a Jennifer's Body vibe. I really liked that movie back in the day. Yeah, I'm really excited to try this. I'm going to move on to mystery and thriller. So the first one I'm going to talk about in just a group. So it's 4 books. These are A Conspiracy in Belgravia, The Hollow of Fear, The Art of Theft, and The Murder on Cold Street by Sherry Thomas. These are part of the Lady Sherlock series, which you've probably heard me talk about. This is basically if Sherlock Holmes was a female and she like has to hide her identity as a female, and so she's pretending to be Sherlock Holmes, but her real name is Charlotte Holmes, and she's very smart. She picks up on things people don't, and she just wants out of the life that is expected of her as a woman in this time period. I think this is a series I'm gonna like because I do like those kind of detective mysteries. There's just so many just male detective mysteries out there that I'm happy I found a like woman version. That's what I wanted to say. So going along with that, I recently read, which you'll see in this reading vlog that's coming out, But this is another detective mystery called Dead Dead Girls by Nikisa Afia. And it's a Harlem Renaissance mystery. Harlem Sunset is coming out in June. This is set in Harlem in the 1926 specifically. And basically our main character, Louise, is given the option after she is arrested to help find the murders of these women, sex workers, these black women sex workers who are dying. She's given the choice to help the detectives figure out what's happening to these sex workers because she can get in places that police can't. There's queer web in this as well. Thought that it was a good option because it's a different way of looking at a detective mystery, because like I said previously, it's a lot of white men being detectives, and this gave a different option for me, and I didn't really enjoy it, so I will be picking up Harlem Sunset. Now one I'll just quickly go over, and that's Towards Zero by Agatha Christie. I collect Agatha Christie editions, specifically this kind, so I picked this one up because it was at Half Price Books, so I couldn't leave it. I'll just read the synopsis. What is the connection among a failed suicide attempt, a wrongful accusation of theft against a schoolgirl, and the romantic life of a famous tennis player? To the casual observer, apparently nothing, but when a house party gathers at Gull's Point, the seaside home of an elderly widow, earlier events come to a dramatic head. As Superintendent Battle discovers, it's all a part of a carefully laid plan for murder. Then we have The Project by Courtney Summers. I found this at Half Price Books, and it is basically a girl, it's a YA, like, horror thriller. A young girl, her sister ends up getting entwined with this cult, and there is a guy whose daughter also was involved in whose son was also involved in the cult. And he and the main girl end up teaming together to stop this cult, and I am really intrigued by cult type stories, and I wanted to see how like a YA handles it. And I've heard this author wrote Sadie, and I've heard good reviews on that, but I haven't read it, so I picked this one up because I thought it just sounds like a plot that's like really for me. So this is also in the reading vlog that's coming up on Saturday. That's Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and this I just finished, and this is following two ex-cons who their sons were married and then were a few months after getting married and having their little girl, they end up getting murdered, and these dads are coming together to try to figure out why they were murdered and what happened. And also throughout this, they both were homophobic, and so they're dealing with loving their sons but coming to terms with the fact that they didn't accept their sons in life and kind of having to confront their own homophobia. I thought that this was really well done. You can see my thoughts in the reading vlog. So then I also picked up recently Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda, and this is someone was murdered back in the day, and now this girl gets acquitted, and she comes back to this like cul-de-sac that all these houses are on. The neighbors don't really trust her because they think she murdered someone. There's a lot of secrets that neighbors are hiding. It feels like it's going to be similar in some ways to like In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, which I really enjoyed, where it's like everyone has secrets and those secrets are going to be revealed, and I really am a sucker for those stories. I am excited to give this a try. Okay, so the last two books, we're down to the last two. This one I picked up for the Literally Dead Book Club. It's the March pick, and that is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris, and basically her boss is killed, and she is like, the evidence is pointing that she killed her boss to like get to her boss's position, and so she's trying to like clear her name and figure out what happened. I think she's an attorney as well. She's a lawyer, so she has like that background knowledge, and she's just trying to figure out like what actually happened. And this sounds really good, and I love this cover, love the red. And the last book is highly recommended by people, and it's been on my like want to read for a while, but I just didn't pick it up. And this second book in the series just came out. I've heard just as good of things, so I was like, I just need to get it. And that is Finley Donovan is Killing It by Elle Casamano. And this is basically following Finley Donovan as she's at a Panera or something one day, and she gets mistaken to be a hit woman, and then now she's in this like situation where she has to kill someone for someone else. I've heard it's ridiculous, it's over the top, but it's like such a good ride, and it's funny. It says it's murder being a hit mom. I just think this sounds like a book that I'm just gonna have such a good time with. So yeah, I'm excited to have this, and I probably will be picking up the second book as soon as I finish this because I feel like I will like it. Hey, so sorry if this is like a really long video, but I have like 50 books here that I hauled, and again, I'm trying to be a more conscious consumer, so for the rest of the year I'm trying to not buy as many books, more just like getting some new releases that I have been wanting to read, but kind of pulling back on buying so many books. And I was lucky to be gifted so many books, so thank you to anyone who did gift me a book. My mom, my family, sister-in-law, all of that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I am excited to read all of these books, and thank you for watching. I will see you next time.